Hello everyone. Welcome to the first ever episode of High On By. It is all about entrepreneurs and their stories and their experiences. And in our first episode, we have my close friend and young entrepreneur Nagabhushan. Welcome Nagabhushan.
Thanks, Risha. It's my pleasure to be here.
Give a gist about your business.
Okay, great. So, I run a marketing agency called Concepts Media. So, we basically deal with social media marketing, marketing strategy, branding, and other media solutions for our clients. In a nutshell, this is what we do.
Okay. How do you strategize content?
Content strategy depends on client to client, whether it's a B2B client or a B2C client. In a simple words, a content strategy depends on the objective for the month. Let's say we're doing a content strategy for November, right? So what is the objective of that brand for that November is what matters, and also it has to fit the overall objective that we're looking at for the brand in the next 3 months or a 6 months goal. Okay, then we cut down to that. Okay, fine, what are the events that are happening in November? Is there something that the brand will associate and celebrate with it? Right, this is something called the key dates that we choose. Okay, this is one aspect of the content creation that comes in. Other than that, is there any offer or promotion that we're planning to run? That is a second bucket that we look into. Third bucket is there any specific content plan that we have, or a story that we want to tell, or we want to do something which is not related to these two, but we want to talk about the brand story, brand journey, anything that we want to put in. These are the three buckets we'll put into, right? So once these buckets are done, the next level content kind of gets planned. This is pretty much how a content strategy gets devised.
Pretty good. It was a very informative answer. Why a brand or a client should choose an marketing agency rather than they can have their own marketing agency, like they can have in-house people, they can do their stuffs and all, rather than coming to you doing, to know them again from scratch and doing the brand strategy content would be a long-term process.
Correct.
And it'll be like maybe like a lot of chaos can also happen. So how do you manage those stuff and why they should choose you?
Okay, I'll not go to the part of why they should choose us, but I'll just give you in general why they should choose an agency over a in-house. It's a long-standing debate actually in marketing world, where having an internal team and versus having an agency in place. A few advantages of having an agency in place is that agencies deal with multiple set of clients, so they come with an outside perspective. When you're an internal team, you have most of the insider perspective. You are always dealing with the brand and you're inside the company. You're not outside the company. So the look that you have on the marketing angle will prominently depending on where you're standing from, be it inside, be it outside, right? So that is a great add-on an agency can give you. Second set of thing is agency has far more quality resources and far more expensive resources than an internal team can have, because you don't need all such resources internally working full time. It's a cost burden for the company. Whereas at a fraction of cost, they can hire an agency which has multiple talents. Let's say a animator. Having an animator inside or an internal employee is useless for certain level of companies, right? But they can hire an agency who does that greatly and take such services from them. These are two major aspects why people should hire an agency. And if you look at overall long-term goal, you can hire different agencies for different tasks. Let's say for performance one, for content one, right? For creative campaigns one more, for branding another one. So you get multiple stacks of people who's sitting and working on your brand, and the output will be far more better than an internal team sitting and working on the brand. That is what my viewpoint is.
Okay, it was very quite interesting. And when you speak about so much of story and big contents and all, how do you match the perspective of the client and their audience plus your team's perspective? When the perspective is going in an aligned way only, marketing would happen and the results would come. How do you do that?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. Right. So what happens is whenever a brand gets onboarded, there is something called as a customer persona. It's not really my team's perspective or the brand's owner perspective that matters. What matters is what's the brand perspective. So we see brand as a human. Let's say you have certain taste, you have certain perspective, right? I have a different taste, I have a different perspective. Now when you look at brand also has a perspective. right? Brand has a brand book which contains, the brand documents, brand persona, brand color theme, brand blah blah blah, everything that is there, the theory, the story, everything. So as a brand, every brand has their own perspective. Now, Rolls Royce cannot make memes. People don't accept it, right? BMW is for the sportiness. BMW cannot come and say, just, we are very calm brand and, start doing yoga. It doesn't match. So how are you saying that? Because there is a perspective that is attached to the brand. Now recently this whole Jaguar thing happened where people could not really relate to how Jaguar changed their logo from being a very, the Jaguar itself to Jaguar being a very like a LGBTQ stuff.
Something as in
Exactly.
very
Something very different.
funky
Now,
style they have made it.
why people could not accept it that way is because people perceive Jaguar in a certain way. Now, that is what a marketing team has to do. Basically, whenever they take the brand forward, it is about what's the brand perspective and then align, first understand that brand perspective. If there is nothing that has been there, creating that brand perspective first is very important. Then taking it forward will be far more easier. It's neither the marketing team's perspective nor the brand owner's perspective.
I have an interesting question for you. Which is the most unsolvable problem statement you got from your client side? What do you mean? Many problems you have faced right now, many clients. Which is the best or which is the difficult ones?
Okay, I'll not say it unsolvable, but it's a very funny one. It's more like a chicken and egg situation, where a lot of clients who are in a very initial stages or who are still figuring out, they come to us and say, it's a very common statement. They say, first I want to do some activity, and whatever money comes from, I'll invest it back in this. So this cycle that they talk about, that never exists in the first place. That only happens after some time of you investing. It's like you want to rent the apartment, and from the money that you get from the apartment, you want to build the building. Okay, so that never happens basically,
Yes,
right?
true.
So this is one of the funniest things that I hear from people. They're not wrong, but that doesn't work that way. You have to first pay the money, build the building, get everything, the interiors right, then everything else right. Then you're allowed to rent to people and make money. And over time, it's not like, okay, you build it for me. I'll from the rent I'll give you back the money. So it doesn't
Work like that.
work that way. That's a common problem statement. People come with us and then we say not possible.
Not possible. We had very very interesting questions, and you had very good answers. And
You're
finally, I have one last
evaluating that question and answers.
kind of, because we have to give mark for your agency as well, so that
Okay.
people can choose you or
What's
no.
my,
We
what's
don't
my
know.
score?
Maybe 5 out of 5. I will be 5 out of 5. No worries.
Okay.
Yeah. So this would be offensive content, but then also we'll show it for sure. And I have
Disclaimer.
and I have a last question on it, and it's quite
Final,
interesting.
final.
Yeah, it's
Not
final,
final,
final.
last.
Bus. Today's episode is done, I guess. Bus. Okay. So it's a final question.
Okay.
Okay. When should a brand or a company start their marketing, and what are the checklists? What are the pointers so they have to fulfill in their brand to start marketing?
Okay. So the brand has to market before it's born. Okay. So let me give you a clarity on it. So any thought or an idea, right? So marketing is not when you go out and run a Facebook ad or a Google ad or whatever that is. For marketing, according to me, is when you start spreading the word about the brand to the next person apart from you, because you are the founder. You're talking to your friend about your brand. That's marketing, according to me, right? So marketing has to start from that point. Now, when you ask me a checklist, what you need to have if they want to start, they should have at least a business model. Right? You can't market something that you don't have a clarity upon. So, a clarity about what the brand will stand for, a brand voice. Basically, we call it a branding activity that we do for brands. That will kind of define the whole brand, and from then it's good to communicate with any of the audience. Okay, so that is a basic thing that need to be there.
Though I said it's a final question, so I have a bonus question where it will be little cringe
You are
content.
exempted.
Huh?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so it will be, though it's a very cringe content, but then I'll be surely asking it. What is the difference between sales and marketing?
Okay, it's a very, very valid question, not a cringe question. Uh, Marketing is about communication, not really about sales. If, say, you have a product, you're telling people about the product is marketing all about. Now you're going and selling it to them, which is basically they paying money, a transaction, which is a money-based transaction that happens. That is your sales, right? Marketing is just letting people know that you have the product and you have this product does X, Y, Z, whatever that is, and why people should buy it, right? Convincing them. At the end of the day, there's a transaction that happening. That process is sales, basically. Anything happens before that is all pretty much marketing.
It was a wonderful session, and we had multiple questions, and it was very informative, I guess. What do you feel about it?
Okay, glad to be a part of your first, episode of this whole venture of High on Why. High on Why.
Why is not defined yet?
Not defined yet.
Find it.
Right. But one thing that, one very interesting, analogy that I want to give it to the users is marketing is like dating, right? So I think from there people can take it, but I'll just still give a little more this thing.
No, rather than marketing as dating, I would say sales is a proposal and a dating.
Sales is after things. No, I'll tell you why I call it marketing is a dating because you have to decide you're going behind the right person first thing, then you have to go at it for some good amount of time. So that is how marketing has to be done. The product has to be good, plus you have to go at it as a marketing approach, has to go for longer and committed efforts has to be put in. That is when you'll be able to successfully sell any product or service, right? Sales is more like a marriage or whatever that you want to call it after the dating stuff. But yeah, this is pretty much my analogy that I put across to people. So that's pretty much it. And thanks a lot for having me here. It's a nice experience.
Thank you so
Otherwise, you'll
much.
kill me.
Thank you so much for your time and efforts. Thank you. Stay tuned to get boost with next episode. High on Why. Bye bye. Welcome to High on Why podcast. Today we're gonna
Once
see
again. Hi, you stopped.
on Why vandilla.
நான் பத்தி தெரியா இல்ல
உன்னை பத்தி எனக்கு எல்லாம் தெரியும். இன்னைக்கு நடந்தது சொல்லிட்டா. Welcome to the very first podcast of High on Why.
episode of podcast.
Don't laugh.
Okay, fine.
And rolling. Welcome to High on Why podcast. Sorry. Okay, silence please. Hello everyone.